The battlefield was burning. Smoke rose like black rivers in the sky, and the screams of the wounded filled the air. Ryan Halley ran through the ruins, his boots slipping on shattered metal and blood. His rifle was gone empty after hours of fighting. He had nothing but his fists now. The humans were losing. The Zelari warlords had attacked without warning, and Ryan's unit was almost wiped out. His mission had been simple: hold the bridge until reinforcements arrived. But the reinforcements never came. Now everything was chaos. He turned a corner and froze. There she was, the alien princess, Liara. He had seen her face only once on a briefing screen. Silver skin, bright violet eyes, the crown-like ridges on her forehead that marked her royal. Blood. She was pinned under a slab of broken armor plating, struggling to breathe. Her guards were all dead around her, their bodies sprawled across the rubble. Her sacred blade lay only a few feet away, glowing faintly in the ash. Ryan's heart pounded. That sword was legendary, a weapon older than human history, carved from something they said had fallen from the stars. Its edge shimmered with blue light, humming with a strange energy. The humans had been warned never to touch it. But right now, none of that mattered, because behind him, enemy footsteps echoed closer. Stay back. Lyra's voice was weak, desperate. Her eyes widened as Ryan ran toward the sword. He didn't think, he just grabbed it. The blade was heavy, alive with energy. The instant his fingers wrapped around the hilt, a shock ran through his arm like lightning. It burned, but he held on. There was no time to wonder why it felt like the sword was breathing. Ryan spun around as 3 Zelari soldiers charged at him, their claws outstretched, their fangs bared with a roar. He swung. The glowing blade cut through alien armor like paper. One soldier fell, then another. The third lunged, and Ryan drove the blade straight through his chest. The hum of the weapon grew louder, pulsing like a heartbeat in his hands, and then silence. Ryan stood there, chest heaving, the alien sword dripping with black blood. Liara stared at him like she had seen a ghost. You? You touched my blade, she whispered. Her voice shook not with anger, but something else. Her eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the sword's blue light. Ryan glanced at her, confused. Yeah, you needed help. I couldn't just... Do you even know what you've done? She hissed, her voice sharp now, full of something that sounded like fear. Ryan frowned. Saved your life? Liara's hands trembled as he pulled the slab of metal off her and helped her to her feet. She was lighter than he expected, her skin cool against his arm. But her stare cut through him like fire. Not just my life, she said softly. You've claimed my soul. Ryan blinked. What? Before he could ask, more footsteps thundered in the distance. Reinforcements. Not his, but hers. Armored Zelari warriors swept into the ruined street, weapons raised. They saw him holding the blade and froze. Then every single one of them dropped to one knee. Ryan's gut tightened. What the hell? One of the warriors spoke, voice deep and formal. Consort? Ryan turned to Liara. Consort? What does that mean? She stared at him, her jaw tight, her eyes unreadable. Finally, she said the words that made his blood run cold. It means human. By the law of the blade, you are now my mate. The blade in his hand pulsed once, as if sealing the truth. And Ryan, standing in the ruins with a weapon he barely understood, realized this battle was the easy part. Came next would change his life forever. Asterisk. Do you even understand what you've done? Liara's voice was cold now, sharper than the blade still glowing in his hands. Ryan tightened his grip on the alien sword, its strange energy still pulsing through his arm like a living thing. He stood in the middle of the ruined street, his boots soaked in blood, staring at the Zelari warriors who had all dropped to one knee. Consort. They called him consort. He didn't even know what that meant. What the hell is going on? Ryan demanded, his voice rough. He turned to Liara, who was standing now, her silver skin streaked with dust and blood, her violet eyes blazing like twin suns. "Put the blade down," she said, her tone clipped and commanding. "Not until you. Tell me what this means." He gestured at the kneeling warriors. "Why are they looking at me like I just married their queen?" Lyra's jaw clenched. She stepped closer, her elegant features hard as carved stone. "Because you did the one thing no outsider should ever do." Ryan frowned. "I picked up a sword." "You didn't just pick it up," Liara snapped. Her voice echoed through the broken street, sharp enough to silence even the wind. "You wielded it. You fought with it. You spilled blood with it. Do you have any idea what that means in our law?" Ryan shook his head. "No, and honestly, I don't care. I saved your life. That's all that matters." Her eyes softened for a second, just a flicker, but then her expression hardened again. "Listen to me, human," she said slowly, like speaking to a child about to walk into fire. "That blade is the heart of Zalara. It is more than a weapon. It is our oath, our bond, our bloodline. Only one who shares the life thread with its keeper may wield it." Ryan blinked. "Life thread? You're not making sense." Lyra's voice dropped, cold and final. "By taking that blade and defending me with it, you invoked the right of union." Ryan stared at her. "The what?" She stepped closer, her silver hair catching the light of distant fires. "You are my consort now, my mate, bound by law older than your species." For a moment, Ryan thought he misheard her. "Wait, you're saying because I picked up your sword, we're what, married?" "Not married," Liara said. "Life bonded." Her eyes glowed faintly as she added, "Until death ends one." "And the other?" Ryan's breath caught. "You've got to be kidding me." The Zalari warriors rose, forming a circle around them. One of them bowed his head and spoke in a low tone of respect. "The law of the blade is sealed. The consort and the princess must return to the hall." Ryan held up a hand. "Whoa, hold on. I'm not going anywhere. I didn't agree to this." Liara gave him a long, unreadable look. Then, in a voice that was almost soft, she said, "It's not about what you agreed to. The law doesn't care about your will, human. It only cares about what you've done." Ryan felt the weight of the glowing sword in his hand, the faint pulse that matched his heartbeat. He didn't know if it was the weapon or his own blood, but something inside him whispered that she wasn't lying. Far above, the sky rumbled with the sound of approaching dropships. Human forces or Zelari reinforcements? Ryan didn't know. All he knew was this: his life wasn't his own anymore. And for the first time since the war began, he was afraid. Asterisk, the holoscreens across 100 worlds showed the same image. Human soldier holding the glowing heartblade, and the princess standing at his side. Ryan Hale sat in silence as the Zalari skyship sped through the clouds. The alien throne world shimmered below like a sea of silver and blue. He still had the sword in his hands. No one had asked him to give it back, probably because now it was his. Somehow, his heart raced. He was a soldier, not a politician. But the moment he grabbed that blade, his life stopped being his own. Liara stood at the other end of the chamber, her back straight, her face calm like stone. But Ryan had seen her eyes earlier. Behind the mask of royalty, there was anger. Fear. Maybe both. She didn't look at him as she spoke. "Every channel is showing your face. They're calling you the human consort." Ryan rubbed his forehead. "Consort, mate, whatever the hell you call it, I didn't ask for this." Her voice was sharp. Do you think I asked for it? Do you think I wanted some off-world soldier to bind me for life? Ryan clenched his fists. Then fix it. Tell them the law doesn't matter. Tell them. She turned, her violet eyes burning. Like suns, you don't understand. The law of the blade is older than kings. It cannot be broken without blood. Ryan stared at her. Blood? If we deny the bond, she said coldly, your life ends. Mine too. His chest tightened. Great, perfect. So basically, if I walk away, we both die? Yes. Ryan cursed under his breath. This was insane. Before he could say more, the door hissed open and 2 guards entered, their armor shining like polished ice. Behind them came a tall figure draped in royal robes, the Zelari High Chancellor. His voice was deep, smooth, dangerous. The galaxy is watching, the Chancellor said. You have done what no human should have done. And now you must stand before the Council. Ryan laughed bitterly. And if I refuse? The Chancellor smiled without warmth. Then the stars will see a war unlike any before. Scene shift. Galactic reaction holofeeds blazed across the galaxy. Humans argued in panic on Earth's news streams. A soldier bonded to an alien princess? Is this a political trick? On Zelari worlds, crowds gathered outside the crystal. Halls chanting. Some celebrated the union as a prophecy of peace. Others screamed for Ryan's head, calling him an invader who defiled sacred law. Ryan watched it all on a glowing screen inside the palace. His name was everywhere now. Captain Ryan Hell, the blade-bonded human. He felt sick. Liara stood next to him, her arms crossed. Do you see now? This bond isn't just between us. It's between 2 worlds. And both are ready to burn. Ryan turned to her, his voice low. Then tell me what to do. Because right now, all I want is to make sure neither of us ends up dead. For the first time, her expression softened. Just a little. Then you need to survive the next step. Ryan narrowed his eyes. What's the next step? The blood oath before the council, she said. Once you swear it, the bond is sealed. Forever. Ryan swallowed hard. Forever. The weight of that word crushed him. He wasn't ready for this. He wasn't ready for her. But somewhere deep inside, a strange thought whispered, she didn't want this either. Yet she's still standing beside you. Ryan stared at his reflection. In the mirror, he wasn't wearing his uniform anymore. The Zelari had dressed him in royal armor white and silver plates etched with glowing runes. But this wasn't for battle. This was for a wedding he never agreed to. The chamber was quiet, except for the low hum of alien music coming from unseen walls. Ryan felt the weight of the ceremonial armor pressing down on his shoulders. He didn't belong here. Every piece of metal screamed that truth at him. A door opened behind him. Ryan turned and froze. Liara entered, draped in shimmering robes of blue and silver, her hair braided with crystal strands that sparkled like frozen stars. She looked like something out of a dream, beautiful, untouchable, and furious. You're ready, she said flatly. No, Ryan replied, his voice hard. I'm not, and you know it. Her eyes flickered, but she stayed calm. It doesn't matter if you're ready. The council is waiting. Ryan clenched his fists. I'm not doing this. I didn't sign up to marry an alien princess because of some old law. Liara stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper sharp as a blade. If you refuse, you die, and so do I. The words hit him like a punch. Ryan opened his mouth, then closed it. He wanted to shout, to break something, to escape, but there was no way out. Why? He asked finally. Why would they kill you? Her eyes met his, and for the first time, Ryan saw something beneath the steel fear. Because if a princess is bond broken, it is seen as dishonor. My bloodline will demand punishment. That's our law. Ryan swore under his breath. Your law is insane. Her lips curved in something that wasn't quite a smile. Welcome to my world, human. Scene shift. The ritual hall, the Hall of Bonds, was a vast cathedral of crystal and firelight. Thousands of Zilari nobles filled the balconies, their silver skin gleaming under the sacred flames. At the far end, the High Chancellor stood on a raised platform, the harp blade glowing in his hands. Ryan walked down the aisle beside Lyara, every step echoing like a drumbeat. He could feel the eyes of the galaxy on him, even though they were just eyes on holoscreens, watching across 100 worlds. He whispered out of the corner of his mouth, "You sure there's no way out of this?" Lyara didn't look at him. "If you run, they'll hunt you to the ends of the stars." "Great," Ryan muttered. They reached the altar. The Chancellor's voice boomed. "The blade has chosen. By the law of oath and blood, the bond must be sealed." Ryan barely had time to react before 2 warriors stepped forward, each holding a small obsidian bowl. Inside shimmered a clear, glowing liquid. "What's that?" Ryan asked nervously. "Lifeblood." Lyara said quietly, "It will bind us in every way." Ryan blinked. "Defying every way." She turned her head, her eyes cold. "If one dies, so does the other. Forever linked." Ryan's stomach dropped. "You're kidding." "I wish I was," she said softly. The Chancellor handed Ryan the heart blade. It pulsed in his grip like a living thing. "Cut your palm," the old voice commanded. Ryan hesitated. He didn't want this. He didn't want any of it. But Lyra's gaze held his, and for a moment he saw something strange, something like trust. He slashed his palm. The blade barely touched his skin, but blood welled bright and red. Lyara did the same, her silver blood glowing faintly in the light. The Chancellor pressed their hands together. Blood mixed. The runes on the armor flared like fire. And then Ryan felt it, an electric surge racing through his body, crawling under his skin, flooding his heart. He gasped as images flashed in his mind, stars, battles, and her. Lyra's breath hitched. She felt it too. Their bond locking in place like chains of light. When it was over, Ryan stumbled back, shaking. What was that?" Lyra's voice was quiet, but full of weight. "The bond. You're not just my mate now, human. You're part of me." Ryan stared at her, his pulse hammering. He wanted to hate it. He wanted to fight it. But deep inside, something new stirred, something dangerous. Because now he could feel her heartbeat, and it matched his own. Asterisk, the energy bolt screamed past Lyra's head and burned a hole in the crystal wall. The Hall of Bonds erupted into chaos. Nobles screamed, guards shouted, and more shots lit up the air like falling stars. Ryan grabbed Lyra and yanked her down behind the altar. Another blast scorched the floor where she had stood. Assassins. A guard roared. Ryan didn't wait for orders. He drew the heart blade, the glowing weapon humming like a storm in his hands. He didn't know if it was adrenaline or something else, but the blade felt eager. "Stay down." He barked, scanning the balconies. Shapes moved in the shadows, masked Zilari, with sleek rifles aimed at him. Another bolt sizzled through the air. Ryan lunged, knocking Lyra flat as the shot burned past her. Her silver hair brushed his cheek. For a split second, their eyes locked, and he felt it again. That strange pull inside his chest, like her fear was his fear, her breath his breath. "Ryan," she started, but another blast cut her words short. "Move," he growled, grabbing her hand. They sprinted toward the side corridor as guards exchanged fire with the assassins. Crystal shattered overhead. Flames licked the balconies. Ryan swung the blade in a wide arc as 2 assassins dropped down from above. The sword carved through alien steel like air. Their bodies fell. Smoking dot the door ahead burst open. More assassins. Ryan charged, his roar echoing through the hall. The blade's blue light sliced through armor and bone. For a soldier trained with rifles, fighting with this weapon should have felt wrong. But it didn't. It felt like the blade wanted this fight as much as he did. Finally. Silence. The last assassin dropped. His mask cracked. His lifeless eyes staring. Ryan turned and froze. Liara was on the floor, blood streaking her arm. Not much, but enough to make his chest tighten painfully. He dropped beside her. "You're hit," he said, ripping a piece of his sleeve to bind the wound. "It's nothing," she murmured. "You should have run." Ryan looked into her eyes, his voice low, rough. "Not happening. I don't leave people behind. Especially not you." Her lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to argue, but didn't. For the first time, the fire in her eyes softened into something else. "Why?" she whispered. Ryan tied the bandage tight, meeting her gaze. "Because we're in this together now. Bond or no bond, I'm not letting you die." She stared at him for a long moment, then lowered her eyes. He could feel her emotions through. The bond now confusion, anger, and something warmer buried deep. Scene shift. A private chamber. Hours later, Ryan sat on a bench, armor cracked, blood on his hands. The palace medics worked on Liara behind a glowing curtain. His head throbbed, but his thoughts were louder than the pain. This wasn't just politics anymore. It wasn't just law. That attack proved that someone wanted this union destroyed. No matter the cost. The curtain slid open. Liara stepped out, her arm bandaged, her robe changed. She looked tired, but her posture was still regal. "You saved me," she said softly. Ryan smirked weakly. Not the first time today. For the first time, a small smile touched her lips. It was gone in an instant, but Ryan saw it, then her. Voice hardened. "You don't understand, human. This bond, it's dangerous. You feel what I feel now, don't you?" Ryan hesitated. He didn't want to admit it. But yes, he could feel her pulse, like a faint echo in his chest. "Yeah," he said finally. "I feel it." She stepped closer, her eyes searching his. "Then hear me, Ryan Halley. If you die, I die too. And if I die, you think I'm planning to die?" He cut in, his tone sharp. "Not a chance. Anyone who comes for you, they go through me first." For a moment, silence. Then she whispered, almost like a secret. "Maybe this bond isn't a curse after all." Ryan stared at her. The distance between them suddenly felt like nothing. The oath wasn't just blood and law anymore. It was something else. Something real. And deep inside, Ryan knew. The fight wasn't over. It had only begun. Ryan stood beside Liara at the foot of the crystal throne. His armor was patched, the heart blade resting across his back. The council had summoned them again officially for peace talks. But Ryan didn't believe that for a second. The nobles filled the chamber in shimmering robes, their silver skin glinting in the cold light. Their faces were calm, too calm. Ryan leaned toward Liara and muttered under his breath, "They're planning something." She didn't look at him. Her voice was low, tight. "Stay alert. Don't show fear." Ryan smirked bitterly. "Not really my strong suit." Before Liara could answer, the High Chancellor rose. His voice boomed like rolling thunder. "By the law of the blade, the bond is sealed. But the bond brings chaos, and chaos must end." Ryan's gut tightened. Every warrior in the room suddenly shifted. Their hands touched their weapons. Liara stepped forward, her voice sharp as fire. "You dare break the law you swore to uphold?" The Chancellor's eyes were cold. "We will not break the law. We will purify it The human dies, so the bond dies with him. Ryan had no time to think. 10 armored assassins dropped from the balconies, blades drawn, energy crackling along their edges. "Ryan!" Liara shouted. Asterisk. He ripped the heartblade from its sheath as the first assassin lunged. Steel clashed against glowing crystal, sparks flying. Ryan twisted, drove the blade through the alien's chest, and kicked the body aside. More came. Ryan roared, swinging, the blade in a wide arc. It sang in his hands, slicing through armor like silk. His muscles burned, but the bond pulsed inside him, feeding him strength. Every time Lyra's heart raced in fear, his arms swung harder. A blast tore through the air. Ryan shoved Lyra behind a pillar, just as an energy bolt scorched past her. Head, he turned, rage flooding his veins, and hurled the blade like a spear. It struck the shooter across the hall, pinning him to the wall in a burst of blue fire. Ryan charged, ripping the blade free, cutting down another attacker. His breath came ragged now, his armor shattered, blood seeping from a cut across his ribs. And then silence. The last assassin hit the floor, smoke curling from his armor. Ryan turned and froze. Lyra was on her knees, her hand pressed against. Her side, silver blood staining her robes. "No," Ryan whispered, rushing to her. He tore off his gauntlet, pressing his hand over the wound. "Stay with me." Her eyes fluttered open, soft, glowing faintly in the firelight. "You're bleeding too," she murmured. "I don't care," he said fiercely. "You're not dying. Not while I'm breathing." Her lips curved in the faintest smile. "Foolish human. You fight like a storm." Ryan felt his chest tighten not just from pain, but something deeper. The bond burned between them now, hotter than before. He could feel her heartbeat faltering. It terrified him. "Don't talk," he whispered, gripping her hand. "You're going to be fine." She looked into his eyes, and for the first time, there was no anger. No walls, only truth. "You should have run," she breathed. "Not a chance," he said softly. "Not from you." And in that moment, Ryan knew the bond wasn't just blood and law anymore. It was choice. His choice. Scene shift. Council retreat guards stormed in too late, dragging away the Chancellor as he shouted about purity and honor. But Ryan barely heard them. He carried Lyra in his arms through the burning hall, his jaw clenched, every step echoing his vow. No one would take her from him. No law, no council, no assassin. Not while he was alive. Ryan stood on the balcony of the healing chamber, the alien city sprawling beneath him like a sea of crystal and fire. He could still feel the weight of the battle in his bones, the taste of blood in his mouth. The palace smelled of smoke. And yet, above it all, there was silence now heavy, waiting behind him. Lyra sat on a couch of soft blue silk, her wounds wrapped in silver bandages that shimmered faintly in the starlight. She looked calm, but Ryan could feel her emotions. Through the bond turbulent, aching, afraid, he turned to her, his jaw tight. "They won't stop." "No," she said softly. "They will not. You broke their pride. You broke their chains." Ryan laughed bitterly. "Great. I wasn't trying to start a revolution." "You didn't," she said, standing slowly. Her long robe trailed across the floor, glowing faintly like starlight. "You became one." Ryan didn't answer. He walked closer, the hum of the heartblade still faint against his back. He hated this hated feeling like a pawn in someone else's game. But when his eyes met hers, everything else vanished. "Tell me something," he said, voice low. "If I could break this bond without killing you, would you want that?" Lyra froze. For a moment, silence hung heavy between them. Then, in a voice barely louder than a whisper, she said, "I thought I did. The day you touched the blade, I hated you. I hated your name, your face, your kind. But now, she looked away, her silver hair hiding her face. Now I don't know where you end and I begin. Ryan stepped closer, lifting her chin gently, so she had to look at him. Her eyes glowed softly, like molten violet glass. Then I'll make. It's simple, he said quietly. I'm not leaving. Her lips parted. You don't understand if you stay. You're mine, not by law. By choice, forever. Ryan smiled faintly. Sounds better than being theirs. Lyra's breath caught. For the first time, the cold mask on her face melted into something warm. Something alive. And then the doors slammed open. A guard burst in, breathless. Human fleet at the edge of the system. They demand your return. Ryan turned, his heart pounding. He could almost see it, their ships out there, ready for war. If he left, maybe this all ended. If he stayed, the galaxy might burn. He looked back at Lyra. She was watching him like her soul was in his hands. Maybe it was. Go, she said softly. Her voice shook. If you go now, they'll let you live. They'll let me live too. Ryan stared her for a long, silent moment. And then, slowly, he shook his head. No, he said, his voice steady as steel. I'm done running. Let them come. He walked to the guard, yanked the cum from his belt, and spoke into it. This is Captain Ryan Halley, he said. His voice carried through every channel, every ship. Tell Earth Command, I'm not coming back. Tell them I'm staying right where I belong. He dropped the cum and turned to Lyra. She was staring at him, her eyes wide, glowing like fire. You chose this, she whispered. Ryan stepped closer, closing the last space between them. No, I chose you. And then his lips brushed her soft, brief, but enough to send a shiver down both their spines. Enough to seal what the law had started, not by duty, not by blood. By choice. Outside, the stars burned brighter, as if the galaxy itself was watching. The end.